say the best way to start a talk like this is with a childhood photo, a funny story. So to make that very personal connection, I've chosen to share my October KUB bill. In October, I spent a whopping $14.75 on water that flowed freely from the pipes in my home, day or night, anytime that I needed it. In Knoxville, most of us don't think about water much, but in many places around the world, people need to think about water a lot. Where it comes from, what it costs, if it will be there when they need it. One such place is Pingat, a densely populated neighborhood in metropolitan Baguio City in northern Philippines. On a steep hillside, Pingat is home to 8,000 people of all backgrounds. You'll find large, multi-story homes next door to smaller, temporary tin shacks. A typical family in Pingat, rich, poor, somewhere in between, must juggle a portfolio of water, getting and managing water from more than one source on any given day. About 50% of families have a piped connection to BWD or Bawadi, the local water utility. In Pingat, Bawadi pipes water from the base of the mountain to the top, then distributes it by gravity. But water is rationed all year long. If you're lucky, water comes 3 times a week, 4 hours a day. So what do? You store water. Wealthy families may have a silver tank, like on this roof. A large one can hold 500 gallons of water, enough for a family of 4 for 5 days by Baguio City standards, not American ones. Poor families, though, may have just 1 or 2 of the smaller drums that you see, the blue drums, which hold just 50 gallons each. Sharing or buying Bawadi water from neighbors or relatives is an important coping strategy for many. In a shared compound like this one, extended family may chip in to pay for a single Bawadi connection, or the house with the connection might sell drums of water to other families at a rate 4 times higher than the cost of the utility. But what about the other 50% of families without Bawadi? Many will buy water from private delivery trucks that drive through neighborhoods, selling drums of water out the back. To get delivery water, you call up the company, get your name on the list, and then wait. And maybe wait some more. There's just no way to know when your delivery will come. If you leave for work, whether a salary job or working in the informal economy, and your water delivery comes, you may be out of luck. Even if your drums are by the side of the road, most companies won't deliver unless you're home, on site, ready to pay in cash. So perhaps then you'll turn to one of the protected pumps or springs in Pingat, which many families, especially low-resource ones, still use. Here a man is filling up the first of several buckets that he'll carry back to his family. Although we often think of long lines and carrying water in rural areas, this is a reality for many urban families as well. At that same pump, a woman has brought her family's laundry. This labor division is typical here. Women are primary users of water for laundry, cleaning, cooking, bathing children. Water, it seems, is just always on their minds. And recall how steep Pingat is. Carrying laundry down to a pump and carrying wet laundry back up is no easy feat. At the base of Pingat are a few unprotected springs, which some families still use. Ironically, in this image, you see the Bawadi pipe just behind the woman at the spring. The pipe carries water from a protected spring to a chlorination and distribution center nearby. Although hand-painted laundry prohibited signs are nearby, there's little enforcement of such rules. Bottled water. Actually, this isn't what bottled water really looks like in Pingat. Most families don't trust Bawadi, delivery, or pumps for drinking. Instead, over 90% purchase 5-gallon jugs of bottled water from one of hundreds of suppliers across the city. A valuable service, but one that costs 11 times higher per unit of water. In the rainy season, a cherished free source of water arrives. 80% of families harvest rainwater for bathing, laundry, sanitation. In some cases, using rainwater lowers water expenses from 10% of household income to 0. But again, storage matters. How much rain can you store if you have just 1 or 2 small drums instead of a large tank? A final source is gray or recycled water, which is not that hard to collect if your 3-year-old is with you and she thinks it's fun to help with the laundry and then help you save that water for future use. In the dry season, 90% of families report using gray or recycled water, especially for flushing or sanitation. So around the world, there are many other Pingats, many other Baguio cities. As population growth, urbanization, climate change trends persist, and urban water supplies diminish, what can be done to ensure some minimum standard of water for all, a human right to water, if you will? now and into the future. Conservation. We need to protect our urban watersheds. Pinged is adjacent to a protected forested watershed called Buyog. Previously a site of urban encroachment and deforestation, government officials engaged community members in a mutual effort to protect the watershed, and over the last 10 years, much progress has been made. Transparency. Bawadi, the local utility, is often criticized for unfair practices. Consumers complain of faulty meters that leak or charge for water that never arrived, and having to know how to talk to agency staff when applying for piped water. Efforts to improve relations between Bawadi and the public seem warranted. Redistribution. Findings suggest that the physical resources of tanks and drums matter a lot. What would it look like if every family had some minimal but meaningful amount of water storage? Maybe not a tank, but something more than just 1 or 2 drums. What social and economic programs might work to help low-resource families acquire these assets? And engagement. Everyday citizens have important roles to play in advocating for change and calling for new, better policies. In Pinged, one group of women worked with local leaders to successfully lobby Bawadi for expanded infrastructure to their part of the neighborhood and an easier way of saving and paying for that expensive piped connection. Both short and long-term investment in water and people is needed, and solutions must cut across countries, cultures, and even the sometimes foreign worlds of other academic disciplines. Social work, engineering, political science, geography are just some of the disciplines that can work together so that tomorrow's children won't always have to wonder where their water will come from.